Hello, everyone. It's William here at Allegory Gallery, and I'm here with our friend Brian Yates.
Hello.
So today is a little bit different. We haven't done one of these Meet the Artists in a while. So Brian just happened to be taking some classes here near us and was passing through. So Andrew got a hold of him and said, "Hey, can you come and do a live with us?" And he thankfully said yes. So we're going to introduce you to Brian here a little bit, but we're just going to chit chat for a little while just to let some people catch up and jump on here. I know we started a little bit earlier, and we always have some people tuning in a little bit after. So we met Brian, well, I met him at a dinner that we had, but Andrew met him at the Center for Metal Arts in Johnstown. And if you haven't been there, I'm sure Brian can tell you a little bit more about it than I can. But it's really a great facility to learn metalsmithing and forging. So maybe you want to tell them a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, it's been this class I took is my sixth class I've done there. They do some weekend classes and some week-long, and it's all different instructors teaching largely about forging and blacksmith work, but there's some jewelry elements and other kind of metal work involved depending on the class. But yeah, it's a fantastic world-class resource. It's in an old steel mill.
My grandfather used to work in those steel mills up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot in folks did, and it was I think it built in like 1850 something.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So just to have some life back in it and people working metal, it's really terrific.
Yeah. And I heard they got a huge grant, I think, to expand on this here recently.
Yeah, I haven't heard the details.
Yeah.
But they had mentioned something.
Yeah, they've got a $1 million grant or something like that they're going to be able to continue doing more things and kind of work out and build out that center, which is incredible. So Johnstown is probably about 35, 40 minutes away from us over the hill. If you watch us often, you know that we have Star Cottage Studio up near us. On the way to Star Cottage Studio, if you continue on that road, you end up in Johnstown. So it's really pretty close. They're doing a lot of revitalization there in Johnstown to try to get artists and jewelry artists and metal workers there. So I think the Center for Metal Arts is really a huge step to there. And Andrew's had a really good time anytime he's taking classes there. Let's see who's tuning in. Hello, Terry. Thank you for tuning in with us. And thank you for being on YouTube. Please hit that thumbs up. Please hit the like and share. Please share. Sharing is caring, everyone. Sandra, hello. Happy Friday to you. Hello, Terry, again on Facebook. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're out there, please say hi so we know you're out there. Sarah is with us. We did an interview with Sarah. If you haven't watched or listened to our podcast, we did an interview with Sarah on our latest podcast episode. And it's a really interesting talk, and I think you would be really interested to meet her as well. So please be sure to check out our podcast. You can go to allegorygallery.com and go to the podcast tab, or you can find it on, all those Apple Music, Spotify, all that good stuff. Hello, Susan, our neighbor here. Thank you so much for tuning in. So tell us a little bit, Brian, about you and what you do.
I'm a metal worker. Been self-employed for a number of years, doing mostly welded fabrication, custom work, occasionally artistic, more artistic things, but also just functional stuff, repairs.
And you go through the whole design process with someone, right? If they want.
Yeah. It just starts off, just ask them what they need, what it needs to do, whether it's, railing or truck rack or something. And then I mostly design with a computer.
Okay.
I just find it easier to 3D model something, and then I can create all my blueprints.
So what program do you use for that? I'm always interested to see what people do.
Well, for most of my fabrication stuff, I use one called Turbocad.
Okay.
I'm pretty familiar with. It does what I need, and there's no subscription, which I like.
Yeah.
I have used ZBrush for some of try to develop some more ideas for forged work and artistic stuff.
Okay.
And I know that's popular with jewelers. And
I think Houdini was one we heard of when we were up in Providence. But somebody was just using that just to be able to, I guess, have different options for people. It wasn't so much that it went into production that way necessarily, but he could model something very quickly and change details on it. So that was one that, and they said that's free. So for a lot of things anyway. So that's interesting.
Yeah, nowadays, I mean, it just makes the whole process so much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't replace, a lot of the basics, but
I'm always interested in that, but I'm always afraid of trying because I don't know if I'm smart enough to do the 3D modeling in the CAD. I used to do that. It was like way back in high school when AutoCAD was still in DOS. I could still do all that stuff, but I haven't touched it since then.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's changed quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty it's pretty easy for once you learn it, it's a valuable tool.
Yeah. And so you go through fabrication with people, but what are you doing now?
Now I've been since about February. I've been working for a local company called Rocky Mountain Rafts that they make whitewater rafting, because where I live in West Virginia is near Fayetteville.
Okay.
Which actually just became the New River Gorge, just became a national park last year.
Oh, cool.
So a lot more folks are showing up.
Yeah.
They make frames and dry boxes to go on the rafts, and so I do all the aluminum welding for them.
That's cool.
It's working out well. But I still have my shop at home that I'm doing some. I was trying to get a new product line started right before this welding job came up, but making some utensils and more finer forged work and copper.
Because you and Andrew took a class with, it was Erica Moody, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was fantastic.
He had a really good time making, was it spoons and?
Yeah, we made
spatulas, was it?
Spatulas. She would demonstrate different skills and techniques, but then left it up to us to design and to execute what we were doing. But it was terrific. And at the end of the week, we had this huge table with everybody's work there, and it was a great thing to be a part of. Yeah,
it seems like a lot of fun up there. It really does, and it seems like they bring in some really good professors or teachers.
Yes. Yeah, they don't. You definitely have to be top of your field to go teach there. Pat's very serious about the mission there, but it's a ton of fun, and everybody has a good time.
Cool. So, and I just want to remind everyone, you have comments here. So if you want to ask anything to Brian or have any questions for us, please feel free to write them in the comments. We can see all of your comments here, and we're happy to take questions as well as we go through this. We're just kind of riffing here and seeing what we have and what we can talk about. So what did you work on this last time at Center for Middle Arts? That's why you're here in town, right?
Yes. Yep. This was another 5-day class, and it was with Peter Ross, who was, I believe, 20 or 25 years, he was the master smith at Colonial Williamsburg.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Spent a great deal of time researching the old designs and learning the techniques and how it was done, not trying to necessarily improve anything or, just to really see how it was done then and recreate that. And he guided us through the process of making the box joint pliers, which are very familiar to anybody who does jewelry. Yeah,
we were just looking at over at our tool section, and there's a bunch of them that have the box joint.
Yeah, but it was done entirely with hand tools and coal forge and hammers and files, and it was tough.
So you went back to basics really on that. He had a coal forge to do it.
He walked us through all the steps and kept a close eye on things. But he said we were a good group. I mean, 2 of the fellas in the class with me are full-time blacksmiths in Mount Vernon.
Okay.
Another guy was from Detroit, Gabriel. He runs a smith shop, a wonderful place you should check out.
Okay.
And then another one was a doctor who happened to use some box joint tools in his practice. He was an ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Okay.
And he's retired and does blacksmithing on the side. So,
it's amazing all different walks of life end up doing this. And I think it's so interesting. And Andrew always talks about the people he meets and what they do. And sometimes you just think, wow, okay. They went from being a doctor to being a blacksmith now, right? Which is, you think 2 totally different things, but there's, I'm sure, a lot of, intricate things that happen in both fields.
But everybody came away with some great pairs of pliers and learned the skills, and so it's a good time.
Yeah. Terry has a question for you. Smithing is hot and hard work. What drew you to it initially?
Well, I came in. I was a welder for many years, so that's how a lot of folks get into it. It was something I was always kind of excluding intentionally because I didn't have much of an art background or a design skill for drawing, and it requires a lot of just fast judgment with your eye as to where the shape is. And so I ended up, just finally realizing that I wanted to learn a few things about it, and then when I realized Center for Metal Arts was a 4-hour drive away, that's who I went to learn it.
Yeah.
So.
And other than 4 hours away, what made you choose Center for Metal Arts? I'm sure there are other places around that you can do this, or even probably local.
There are, honestly, and I was talking with some of the other guys in the class, because they've all taken classes. There's like New England School of Metalwork up in Maine, Penland, and Joseph C. Campbell School down in North Carolina, Touchstone. Right nearby. But they have a house nearby. It's within walking distance to the school, and you can rent a room there while you're staying. It's very reasonably priced, very comfortable beds, and a couple of the guys in the class said that was the best accommodations they've had
Okay.
of all the different places they've been to. So.
Yeah.
And that means a lot when you're out there swinging a hammer all day.
I bet.
You don't want to sleep.
For one, you
somewhere
drove all this way,
Yeah.
and then you have to swing the hammer all day long.
Yeah.
Keep
So
the coal
it's,
forge burning, right?
And just the facility, it's in the old Cambria Ironworks, which we mentioned is an old building, and they have some huge, like 3,000-pound ram weight steam hammers that are still functional, and they have a conference in sometime in September where they're going to create a large-scale sculpture.
Oh wow!
With this, historic hammer that I think Pat said it entered the building in 1902.
Wow!
And you can see some of the operators' initials kind of pecked into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're using this large-scale industrial hammer to create art, and it's one of a kind.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And they're really, really getting it going.
Let's see. Sandra asked, do they teach for unexperienced? I've wanted to take a metal smithing class. We don't really have a local place to take classes that I know of in Miami.
Yes, they offer a bottle opener class taught by a guy named Jesse Savage.
I think Andrew took that too.
Yep. It's very, very approachable. You don't have to have any
I
experience.
think that was one of his first classes too. Yeah.
Yeah, because and they provide all the tools. Pat Quinn, the director there, is an exceptional tool maker. His tongs and hammers are the best. So
nice. Maybe we'll be seeing you, Sandra. It's time for you to come up and visit.
And they offer some other weekend classes too that are definitely beginner friendly.
Nice. Let's see. Marianne says, my grandfather was a blacksmith and trained my dad, who did some decorative work for the railings of our house. Nice. And you've talked about doing some railings and things, right? You were talking about for clients.
Yeah, I finished one last year. It was some friends of mine had a house that was built by a very eccentric carpenter. Okay. So some interesting design details, but they have a spiral staircase.
Sometimes they're the best. Yeah.
No, it works really well. It's not inappropriate, but it's one of a kind for sure. But yeah, they have a spiral staircase, and they have a lot of foster kids that sometimes want to run around and go crazy. So we had to build them a nice little kind of gate and door for the staircase.
Nice. Now you're coming up from West Virginia.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about where you are in West Virginia and how that is down there.
It's in Fayette County. The big landmark is the New River Gorge Bridge, which is on our state quarter. It's the second largest arch bridge in the world.
Oh, wow.
Pretty impressive. And it goes over the New River, which is a big whitewater rafting industry. That's what brought me to the state initially. I'm from the Cleveland area.
Okay.
But then moved to West Virginia back in 1997.
Okay.
To work on the river.
Okay.
So that's where I met my wife, and we bought a house and built a shop right there at the end of my driveway. So that's where I do my work from.
Cool.
Which is really nice. And it's not a lot of people there, not a lot of customers. So that's why I'm looking more to like sell products,
right?
Through the mail.
Now, do you think you will continue designing your custom line now that you have a full-time job that you're working at? Or are you still?
Yeah. It's not completely full-time, and they'll give me the flexibility to kind of work around it. So this first few months I've been getting them set up on some things.
Right.
But
hopefully we'll see some products for sale.
Yes, definitely.
Good.
I already paid for the website.
You got to use it then, right? Andrew. It looks like Andrew is joining. I don't know where he is at this moment, whether he's driving or he's already there. But we need railing at the cottage. So there you go.
You can strike for me.
There you go. Let's see. Donna says, my grandfather and uncle worked for Birmingham Ornamental Iron Company. Iron, yeah, that's cool. And hello, Norma. Thank you for tuning in. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Brian Yates about his kind of career and what he does as a metalsmith, and he does fabrication. He's a metal artist. He's up here in Johnstown right now, taking or just finished a class at the Center for the Metal Arts in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So if you have any questions and you're tuning in, you'd like to know more, now's your chance. Now's your time to ask. And I will say again, for those just tuning in, if you like this kind of thing, we do have a podcast called Allegory Gallery Interviews. It is mostly audio only. This is one of the few ones that we've done on video. Maybe we'll start. I like these. But you can listen to it on our website at allegorygallery.com on the podcast tab. Or you can search Allegory Gallery Interviews wherever you listen to music online nowadays. So you have an Instagram account. So
yeah,
let's get you some followers, maybe.
Well, yeah, it's just it's Liquid Metal Fab.
Liquid Metal Fab.
That's the one I've had for a while for my fabrication and custom business. But the new one is Mountain Home Metalworks.
Okay,
I think it's just MTN Home Metalworks. So I tried to get a little bit of product together for the holidays and sold it all. And then, like I said, February the new job came up, so it's been on hold. But by the fall, I'll be definitely some more stuff on there.
Well, we have Liquid Metal Fab linked in the description of this video. We'll link the other one afterwards so that you can check that out too. Andrew has some questions for you. What is your favorite project that you've made so far?
Well, as far as the blacksmithing work goes, the project we did this week was just terrific. As far as I think the hardest one and biggest one, and definitely one I'm proud of, is over at Summersville Lake in West Virginia. There's a big rock climbing area called the Orange Oswald Wall. If you climb, you know where it's at.
Not a climber.
The Army Corps of Engineers contacted the local climbing community and expressed an interest in replacing an old wooden ladder that provided access to this area. And it was definitely not a ladder to code. I mean, the rungs were really far apart. And even when I used to climb, it was kind of hard to get up at the end of the day. So they had a couple of injuries there with hikers, and the evac was bad. So they wanted stairs. So we had to go to this location that was like a mile off the road, figure out how to attach a staircase to the cliff right next to a waterfall with a very, very small spot to land it in.
Oh, wow.
And there were many steps in the process. Definitely learning as I went, but it fit like a glove.
Nice.
And so if you're ever down there hiking in Orange Oswald and hiking up the steps,
those are yours.
Yep. So
Nice. That's cool.
was good.
So you've been a climber too.
Yeah, years ago. It was easier to do when I was 22.
Right.
That's too much work now.
You
get to the top and there's nothing up there.
Right.
So just go back down.
So Andrew couldn't be with us. In case you all haven't been watching this week, Andrew is teaching a class in Pittsburgh, but he is with us virtually asking some questions. So the next one he has for you is, what inspires you?
I mean, I've, like I said, I went to West Virginia to be a raft guide and go rock climbing. So I love being outdoors, and that's where I spend my time, is in the woods. But also I have this compulsion to be in industrial settings and work with metal and everything that goes with it. And it's, it's not always pleasant, but, I've got some, my family in Ohio were machinists and stone cutters. And so I think just sort of genetically I'm predisposed to it. I love learning how it used to be done. A lot of technology has kind of, eliminated the need for some of the skills that were only learned through tons of repetition and hard work. That was the lesson Peter Ross was trying to teach us in today's class, or this week's class, that, it wasn't about making it perfect necessarily, but you had to make it the same every time and do it quickly,
Consistency,
and
right?
the speed with which these people used to do work is unbelievable. So I try to always, remember the old ways and like how hard it was to be good, but that everybody was good at it. But then also, always looking forward. Like I said, I'll use computers to design things. But artistically, I'm kind of a late bloomer. Like I said, I just wanted to be a welder and build stuff. And
Right.
It's a whole new mentality to really be artistically creative. And
I kind of like that aspect because Andrew's the really artistic, creative one, and I do the tech stuff and I do that. But so for me, he's always telling me, "You can do it. You can do it," and I'm like, "I don't know if I can do it because I'm not really artistic in that way."
yeah,
But you're out there doing it, so
yeah, and also being self-employed in West Virginia, you got to be creative and willing to take some work. And one you were speaking about tech, I combined some fabrication with electronics and helped our escape room in Fayetteville, the Escapatorium, if you're ever there. They had this bunker themed escape room, so they need a lot of like equipment and some steel doors and a controller with 700 lines of code to run everything. That was one of the jobs where I watched 40 hours of work vanish in an instant.
Oh no!
Because I didn't quite understand the electronics. But
that happens sometimes, right? You have no choice, right?
Yeah. And then the most challenging part of what I do
is the most challenging part?
Man, there's a bunch. I was having the discussion with Gabriel today of the Smith Shop, and he's like, yeah, if it was easy, there'd be a lot more people doing it. And I'm by no means, world class with what I do, but it's, I've done a little bit of everything, and it's.
You're putting your mark all over West Virginia. It sounds like.
Yeah, done a lot of work at a lot of businesses there, but it's right now with what's been challenging me is I've been really just making a focus to be more of an artist and to draw every day and design and think about that stuff. And it's, I've been at it for, 2 years now. I've got this many, there we go.
Right.
That many sketchbooks filled up, and I still can't draw a straight line or a good curve. So that's why I go back to the computer and do it there. But yeah, that's kind of, because all the metal work is just techniques. You learn how to weld, learn how to cut, learn how the machines work, and then you start to figure out, the vocabulary of, whatever discipline you're doing, whether it's fabrication or blacksmithing or metals, goldsmithing. I mean, I remember when Andrew walked into the class with Erica Moody, you could tell as soon as he came in, he was in a new environment.
Yes.
Which is great. Everybody there was,
Yeah.
It was a very eclectic mix of students. It was a great time.
Yeah.
So day 2, because the first day she had us make a spoon, forge a spoon, hammer and anvil over the forge, gas forge, and you could tell he was wrapping his head around it. But then day 2, he comes in with a spoon this big. And it was beautiful.
He made
and
a tiny spoon.
Was like, what is that? So that was a good one.
It's fun to watch him translate these big things he's doing into these little things.
Yeah,
that's what I because he learns the big techniques but our world is mostly jewelry, so trying to take that and resize it and I think it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, and scale's a big part of art. It's like some guys they made it rich just making something really big
or really small.
Yeah,
right?
or paintings on a grain of rice.
Right, people do that. Yeah. Let's see here. Oops, I hate when it jumps. Okay. Somebody's asking to post the links. We already posted the link to his one Instagram in the description of this video if you missed that. But we will amend the descriptions after this and we will post the other links in there as well. Andrew wants to know, what are you most excited about right now?
Well, I mean, I tell you, this is my 6th time at CMA, and the forging is the thing that's been keeping me alive as a metal worker. there's just fabrication and welded stuff is, there's people out there doing beautiful work, but a lot of it involves just sort of making things very clean and straight, plain surfaces and consistent reflections. And it's just a lot of sanding, and it's really unforgiving. And I don't have a market for that, frankly. So being able to learn the stuff at CMA and go back to my home forge and create designs with the new skills is.
Now, what kind of setup do you have at home?
I've got a little, started with a 400 square foot shop.
Okay.
We built it when we bought a house, my wife and I. And it's heated, which I love.
That's always good, especially in West Virginia.
Yeah, I can work all winter, any time of day. And,
nice.
And it's, I built another building, little, like, maybe 500 square foot pole barn style for, like, that's where my forge is and all the blacksmithing stuff. And was going to be a paint booth, but that customer went away, so I don't have to paint anymore.
There you go.
Which is great. I hate
painting.
So yeah, it's small, but it's just me.
I think it's good for anybody watching because you can start out small with this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's I think the great thing that I didn't realize, that to be a blacksmith, you don't have to start out with a lot.
Mm-mm. No, and I mean there is sort of a kind of a minimum threshold of tools you really want to have.
Right.
I mean, people tell you, "Oh, it's not the tool; it's the person using it." But
if you ask Andrew, it's the tools.
Yeah, you gotta have
he
the
likes
tools.
his tools.
Yeah. But that said, you don't have to have a $50,000 kit to make anything meaningful.
Because the forge in itself isn't that expensive, right? To get
no,
started.
I mean I bought a commercially produced one, which was and built my own. I mean, I've got the luxury of a fabrication shop,
right?
But it's not that tough, and you can just buy the burner.
Yeah.
And then I did buy the anvil. I bought a nice new anvil.
Those can be expensive.
They can be, and thanks to Forged and Fire, under $7 a pound. Good luck. But no, you don't need a big kit. I mean, when I first started getting into sheet metal work, I just used the top of like soup cans.
Okay.
It's soft steel. That stuff's designed to be very stretchy and draw into the shape for a can. So just bang it out, learn how metal moves, and that's it.
Yeah, that's cool.
You throw it out
and start again. Let's see what everyone's saying. Saunders says, great to learn about Brian, hearing about other artists. Nice, thank you. West Virginia is a beautiful state, says Donna. You were talking about the wildflowers and things happening.
Yes. I'm lucky enough to live near the New River Gorge, and certain week in April, all the trilliums bloom, and there's just thousands of them.
That's cool. That's so cool to see. Suzanne asked, do you still whitewater raft?
Not for money, but yeah, we, my wife and I both, that's where we met, was working on the rivers. So we have our own boat and still get out and do overnight trips with our daughter. And I don't go on the scary stuff anymore.
Yeah, you got a family now, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Suzanne teaches yoga too.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool. I didn't know you whitewater rafted, Suzanne. That's cool. Donna says, oh yes, the old ways are the best. Maybe not the easiest all the time, right?
No.
Teresa is now following you on Instagram.
Thank you very much.
So we'll all come to find Brian in case of an apocalypse and we need some metal work, right? Yeah. Marianne's from Canada up there. Hello, Harry. Thank you for tuning in today. Let's see who else is. Anybody else is here? There. Sandra asking, do you sketch before you create something most of the time?
I didn't used to. Like I said, I've been sort of dragged kicking and screaming to being an artist who draws in preparation for making something else. But I've been doing it more and more and learning the value of it. Like I said, it's hard to get my arm to go where I want it. But that said, I mean, I'll sketch in CAD. I mean, that's what you do.
Right.
It's especially for big railings and staircases and stuff that has to fit into a 3-dimensional space. The CAD universe is dimensionally accurate, in all directions. So as long as you know how to operate it and hit your dimensions, it'll give you a perfectly faithful.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember a local woodworker friend of mine. what's his business now? Virgin Timber Lumber Company. He makes these beautiful little cover plates, like for light switches on your wall,
Okay,
but
yeah.
out of old reclaimed lumber.
Oh, cool.
But he and I collaborated on a project down somewhere in Alexandria for a high zoot private sector Pentagon.
Okay.
I don't know. These guys had their manicures cost more than my boots.
Right.
So I'll tell you that. But we made this really cool kind of L-shaped table. He did all the woodwork. I did all the table base, steel underneath. And we both designed it in the CAD program. And our two pieces had never come together until we drove 6 hours to Virginia to install. And it just
perfect.
went.
See?
So
Value in that, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you do your own artistic work for sale and things or products, are you sketching them before, or are you just letting it kind of happen?
No, I mean, I tell you this. One of the things I made was a serving spoon, and I never thought there were so many critical features in a serving spoon. But it's if you let the curve start in the wrong place or bend too much, and just to get it to function and lay in your hand. I mean, there's a lot there. So it's kind of a back and forth. Sometimes you have to really understand the way a curve, makes it or breaks it. And so then you got to sketch something out. But
cool.
No, it's easier to forge a even curve for me than to draw an even curve. So
you just jump right in.
Don't be afraid to make scrap.
Nice. Let's see. Whoops. And it jumped again. Let's see here. Who else is out there? I sure wish I lived near you and had money to fix my wrought iron front door railing. It fell off over the winter. Oh, no. See that? Will we ever see you unforged in fire? Nope. And you were so right. You can use a hammer. You don't need hydraulics, but it sure makes a difference for some projects. So do you get into the hydraulics and stuff? Do you have?
I do have an ancient sheet metal kind of ironworker style machine made by a company in Vermont that's still around. They've been around since early 1900s, called Kidder.
Okay.
Kidder. And I got it. Actually, drove to central Pennsylvania to purchase it. And it's very adaptable. I've made a lot of tooling for it, and to be able to have 12 tons of force that you can step on a foot pedal and it's like superpowers.
Yeah, I bet.
So that's it. But I lust for more. Obviously, I wish I could have more, but no.
That's cool. Well, at least you're not doing it all by hand. Right?
No.
Which I guess some people still do, but
my wife strikes for me sometimes. So
yeah. So you get her involved too?
So a little bit, not much.
Yeah.
She's a foot shorter than I am, so our ergonomics are a little different. But no, I'll put it to you this way: she was 8 months pregnant and helping me dump the wheelbarrows of concrete into the foundation of our shop. So she's always willing to help.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, that's great. Well, does anyone else have any questions before we say a quick goodbye here? It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Like I said, here's your chance, everyone, if you want to ask any questions. And I'm trying to make sure, go over anything. Are you going to be doing anything in this area again anytime soon?
I've been back to CMA once or twice a year for the past few years. So I'll definitely be back there. Like I said, every year is a different slate of courses. A few of them are, he does a 6-week intensive called Forging Focus.
Oh, wow.
Which is about to start in another week.
Have you ever done that one?
I would love to, but it's hard to get in 6 weeks up there. I'd come out a whole new person, but someday.
You're right, someday. And what is your website again going to be when you do get it set up?
It's Mountain Home Metalworks.
Mountain Home Metalworks. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us. And
thank you for having me.
Thank you all for tuning in and watching. Please, again, share this with your friends. We hope that you enjoyed it. And it's a little bit different than what we normally offer every weekday, but make sure you join us for our Live at 5 every weekday here at Allegory Gallery. And we're usually bringing you products or tutorials and now sometimes artists, right? So thank you all so very much. And thank you again, Brian, for joining us.
Thank you, William.
Have a great one, everyone.